Okay, so now we're in exercise 12.5. Uh, let me read the instructions. In each of the following passages, a general moral principle must be added as an extra premise to make the argument valid. Supply such a principle. Oh, we already did 12.5, so let me skip that one. Okay, 12.6. Identify each of the following. A is a moral value judgment, B, non-moral, and C, not a value judgment. Okay, 1. You should avoid making such a large down payment. That is a non-moral value judgment. Okay, B. 2. You can't go wrong taking Professor Anderson's class. That is a non-moral value judgment. So it'd be B. C. Misdemeanors are punished less severely than felonies. C. Not a value judgment. Okay, just stating a fact. 4. Anyone who would do a thing like that to another human being is a scumbag. A. That's a moral value judgment. 5. He thought about house schooling his kids. C. That's not a value judgment. 6. He should have thought about homeschooling his kids. That is a value judgment. It's a non-moral value judgment. Yeah, non-moral value judgment. 7. He thought about whether he should homeschool his kids. Not a value judgment. It's just stating a fact. 8. Did he think about homeschooling his kids? Apparently. That's not a value judgment. So that would be C. 9. It was a darn good thing he thought about homeschooling his kids. That is a non-moral value judgment. Exercise 12.7. Identify each of the following as a moral value judgment, non-moral, or not a value judgment. Okay, so let's do that one. 12.7. I think this is the last one. Okay, then we'll do 12.7. 1. The employees deserve health care benefits. The employees deserve health care benefits. That is a moral value judgment. 2. Last year, the employees may have deserved health care benefits, but they don't now. That is a moral value judgment. 3. The employer's health care benefits consume 40% of our operating costs. That is a non-moral, that's not a value judgment, just stating a fact. 4. The healthcare benefits we gave the employees last year were excessive. That is a non-moral value judgment. 5. The healthcare benefits we gave the employees were generous, but not excessive. Were generous, but not excessive. The healthcare benefits we gave the employees were generous, but that's a non-moral value judgment. 6. Susan is the best photographer in the department. That's a non-moral value judgment. 7. Susan should not have used a filter when she made those photographs. That is a non-moral value judgment. 8. Susan upset that man when she photographed him. She shouldn't have done that. That's a moral value judgment. 9. Susan's photographs are exquisite in their realism and detail. Exquisite. I would say that's depends on what you mean by exquisite, but are exquisite in their real exquisite. That would be a non-moral value judgment. 10. Be more careful mowing the lawn. You could hurt yourself. That's a value judgment. It's a non-moral value judgment. 11. Be more tactful dealing with people. You could hurt them. That's a moral value judgment. 12. Use more fertilizer. You'll get better plants. That's a value judgment. Non-moral. You'll get better plants. It's a non-moral value judgment. And 13. Use more deodorant. Your kids will thank you for it. That is a non-moral value judgment. Okay. So let me see here. I think that's all we're going to do for this chapter, because the next section is on legal reasoning, but I think we're just going to stop with the moral reasoning. Okay, for this one, exercise 12.4 is very important, so make sure you know the difference between consequentialism, duty ethics, virtue ethics, moral relativism, and religious absolutism. The main thing about moral judgments when it comes to arguments is that moral judgments are always they're deductive. They start with a moral principle and they apply a moral principle to particular cases. And so one of the exercises we just did is exercise 12.5 is very important, because that's where you have to identify a moral principle that will make the argument a valid argument. Okay, so I will be assigning, I think, next week Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail, because that's a good essay, an essay illustrating moral reasoning. So a lot of the things that you read about in chapter 12 on moral reasoning, you can see applied in Martin Luther King's essay. Okay, I think that's all I'll do for this one. Okay.